All right, so we're back with 4.3 this time. Now, if you look at this title, it's called Congruence Postulates. Well, we know what congruence is, right? If two triangles are congruent to each other, all the corresponding parts are going to be equal, right? The angle over here is going to equal the angle over here. And this side on this triangle is going to be equal to this side on this triangle, right? The corresponding sides, the corresponding angles, all that good stuff. All right, so we already learned that. So up to this point, tell you what, I'm just going to use this to make a triangle. Oops. Let's get rid of it. Oh, I don't want to do that. I want that. That's what I want. Then I want to make that white. There we go. Okay, now we're good to go. So let's just say I took this triangle like this. And I copied and pasted it. Put it right next to it. All right. So these are congruent triangles. All right. You can look at them. You can see them. Up to this point, what did we have to know? Let's call it, oops, there goes my marker again. Let's call it ABC. Make it real easy. Let's call it DEF. All right. What do we have to know about both those triangles in order for them to say, that they are congruent to each other? What would we have had to know? What do you think? Yeah, all the sides have to be equal to each other, right? All the sides from here have to equal the sides from here, and all the angles from here, all the corresponding, I'm going to use that word a lot, all the corresponding angles have to be equal to each other, and what? The corresponding sides have to be equal to each other. So that means, let's do the angles first. So what needs to equal each other in order for these to be congruent? Angle A must equal angle what? D, all right? Angle B must equal angle E. And angle C must have to equal angle F. Now, just knowing that those angles are equal to each other does not mean that they're congruent triangles, right? It would give it the same shape, but the size could be different. I could take this triangle over here and shrink it down. In fact, let's do that. Now, you're going to have those tick marks just sitting there, but watch. If I hit the shift key, it'll keep it in proportion. Now, look. I made it smaller. Are these triangles congruent now? No. Okay. They have the same shape. What's this angle right here? This angle is still going to be equal angle A. Even though we made it smaller, the degree angle, the measure of the angle, is still going to be the same. Okay? It still like comes out this way at the same exact angle. Same thing with that, same thing with that. So just because the angles are all equal to each other, does that mean they're congruent? No. All right? But we also have to know what else. So let's do that one. So AB must equal what? DE. What else must be equal? It doesn't matter which one. BC. All right, so BC and EF. And then what's my third one? AC and DF. So up to this point, up to today, and we've only done this one day, all right? So the whole day that we've done this, we would have had to show all 6 things being equal in order to say these triangles are congruent. Does that make sense? All right, so if I could have told you that all 3 of these angles were equal to these 3 angles, all 3 of these sides were equal to these 3 sides, if I was able to tell you all that stuff, then I could say that these triangles were what? Congruent, all right? But you don't always have to show all 6 things, all right? There's a lot better way. All right, so I'll tell you what, let me just hit Control-Z a bunch of times. Get rid of that. Okay, so here's my 2 triangles, same 2 triangles. You see what's up top here? Okay, the SAS. Any idea what the S stands for? Side, very good. What do you think the A stands for? Angle, all right? So the first thing we're going to do, these are all postulates. These are not, you can't prove them, all right? They're just accepted as fact. Everybody got that? We've talked about that in the past. All right, so these are just accepted as fact. So believe it and we move on. All right, so what it says is this. If I can show just one side of one triangle equaling another side of another triangle, if I can show one of the angles equal to one of the angles, and if I can show that the second side, you see the side and the angle and the side right there? And then if I can show this, I don't have to show all 6 things. All I have to know is 3 of the things. Okay, this side, this angle, and this side equaling the same corresponding side, the same corresponding angle, and the same corresponding side. If I know just that information, I don't know anything about B and E, I don't know anything about angle C and angle F. I don't know anything about the length of BC and EF. All I know is this information. That's enough. That's enough information in order to say that those triangles are congruent. There's no way that you could make another triangle with those dimensions and it looks different than this one right here. Do you see that? Okay. So what do we call it? Do we call it SAS? Nah, we call it side. What do you think? Angle side. All right. Now we write it. If I was asked you to write it and give me a reason why these triangles are congruent, you would just write SAS. But when we verbally speak about it, when we talk about it, what are we going to say? Side angle side. Don't say SAS. Okay, I just said. When we say it, when we talk it, all right, we say side angle side. When we write it, we write side or SAS. Okay. So if I asked you, tell me why these triangles are congruent, and you wanted to verbalize it to me, speak it to me, what would you say? Side angle side. If you were going to write it on a quiz or a test, what would you write? SAS. Everybody got it? Okay. Just save some time writing it, just putting SAS instead of writing all the words. Well, there's another one. I'll tell you what, let me hit Control Z, get rid of all that stuff I just wrote. So we talked about side angle side. What's another one? Oh, by the way, you know what I should have done? Let's do this. Let's see. Is it Shift Control Z? I thought that maybe it's not Alt, is it? No. Oh my goodness, what did I just do? All right. If you're watching YouTube, you didn't see, but some crazy thing came up on my screen because of my keyboard shortcut was the wrong one. Anyway, let's just do this. Let's do this again. Watch. Here's something super important. I can't believe I forgot to mention it, okay? Now, this is side angle side. It's not just any 2 random sides in any angle, all right? This is 2 sides. Look where the angle is. It's in between these 2 equal sides, right? I mean, these 2 sides aren't equal. These 2 sides are equal to these 2 sides, okay? But look where that angle is. It's in between those 2 sides. Everybody see it? We call that the included angle. Included angle, all right? So we have a side. The angle is the included angle. Do you see how it's in between right here? See, SAS, right? The side, then the angle is in between the 2 sides. So it's got to be like that to be able to use side angle side. So there's a side, there's an angle, there's a side. I didn't do this. Now watch. I didn't go, is that side angle side? Why not? That angle is what? It's not in between. In what? Included. Included. That's a weird, my writing is terrible there, but that's included. Okay? So that's not included. So with this situation, you cannot say that these triangles are congruent. That's not enough information. All right? Now, this looks like it would be, I'm not going to write this one down, and you'll see why in a second. If you're thinking about it, you might see it. So a lot of people would say, oh, this is angle side side. But I don't want to write that down, do I? All right, because it'd be a word that we're not really supposed to use in here. Okay, so there's no angle side side. Now, that's not why it doesn't exist, just because it makes a word we shouldn't say. All right, but it's just an easy way, to remember. Right, now you're getting it. It's finally hitting you. Okay, so there is no angle side side. Everybody got it? Or no, I can write this one, side side angle. That does not exist. Just because I have 2 sides and a non-included angle does not make these triangles congruent. Okay? I wish I could give you a good example of why, and I'm sure if I thought about it, I could show you, but that's okay. But this does work. What is this? This is what? Side, angle, side. Everybody got it? Okay. So now let's do this. Let's get rid of all these little tick marks. Now we'll keep that one. Get rid of that one. And let's get rid of one of these. Now watch this. What if I gave you an angle is equal to this angle? This side down here is equal to this side. And then this angle is equal to this angle right there. What do you think this is? And do you think we have an angle side angle? Yeah, because it's up there in the title of the lesson, all right? That's not really a reason why, but it is one of them, all right? That's one of our postulates. Again, it's just accepted. We can't prove it. It's just accepted. So if I have an angle, what do you think I call this, this side? This would be the what? Included what? Side. So this time the side is in between two things. The side is in between the two angles. Everybody got it? So this is the included side because it's between the two angles. So this is angle, side, angle. All right? And over here on the other triangle, you got an equal angle to this one, you got an equal side to this one, and you got an equal angle to this one right here. So that's side, angle, side, angle. So what they're going to be doing is they're going to give you some stuff and they're going to say things like, they might tell you that the triangles are congruent, all right? And they'll say, well, I'll tell you what, let's just do an example instead of just trying to talk you through it because you're not going to follow me. Let's try to draw this. So I'm going to draw that. I'm going to copy and paste it. I'm going to grab it. There we go. And let's do this. And let's do this. All right, can you draw that? It's not too hard. These two are parallel. Well, they will be parallel, but we're not going to talk about that. This is ABC, and this is D and E up here, down here. All right. And here's what they tell you. They tell you something. They tell you this and this. Now, just from the information that's in front of you right now, are those triangles congruent to each other?
Yes.
Why? Got to give me a reason. You don't know. That's the best answer. You don't know. All right? You can't say definitively that they're not congruent, but you just don't know. Because all they give you is what? One side. They just give you the one side. But there is something by looking at this picture that we can also say that's equal. There's two things that are equal to each other just by looking at the picture. Okay. You're right. It's where they meet at the C. What do we call it? Starts with a V. I'll give you a hint. I think we've talked about this before. Have I talked about this before? Let me see. Maybe I haven't. If you have two lines that intersect each other, do you remember this at all?
Oh, intersect.
That the angles that are opposite each other like this are always equal to each other. They're not adjacent. They're vertical angles. So we did talk about it, didn't we? Yeah. Okay. So you had so many words that sounded like that. Everybody, you remember this, right? I thought we went over this. So two lines that, well, now you know, okay? So two lines that intersect each other. Look at the angles that are completely opposite each other. They are equal to each other. And what do we give it a name? We call them vertical angles. What do you think are true about these other two right here that I didn't mark? They're also vertical angles, so they're equal to each other. Now, do you see vertical angles here? We only got a few seconds. Where is it? Right here and right here. Now, here's the question. The question on this example says, what else do we need to know in order to say that they're congruent because of side angle side? What else would we need to know? Now, we don't know it, but what would we need to know? Which side?
No, just another side.
We could do angle A.
B,
I want to go side angle side. So here's my side, right? Here's my angle. What other side would I need to know? Well, let's do this one. This is the side. This is the angle. BC. Good. So BC. And that would have to equal what? There's a side. There's an angle. What's the other side? CD. Right. So if I knew that those two were equal to each other, then what could I say about the triangles? They're congruent to each other. Okay. All right. Yeah, your homework is on your lesson plan thing. So just look at your lesson plan. I don't have it in front of me at the moment, but you can check yourself.